The last thing Commander Zeke expected to see when the storm broke through Earth's atmosphere was a massive banner that read, "Welcome to the end of your invasion." For decades, the Thean Empire had been the dominant force in the galaxy, subjugating weaker species and integrating their resources into the Empire's ever-growing hunger for expansion. The Galactic Council had long warned humanity that their days of independence were numbered. Yet humanity had remained defiant, rejecting integration with an audacity that bordered on madness. Commander Zeke had been tasked with leading the invasion force, a fleet of ships so vast it blotted out the stars as it approached Earth. The Theans expected a swift and brutal victory, much like every other conquest. But from the moment they breached the atmosphere, something felt off. Zeke's thoughts were interrupted by the sudden appearance of an enormous, sleek vessel rising from Earth's surface, dwarfing the Thean warships in size and sophistication. Its hull shimmered with a technology unfamiliar even to the seasoned commander. "Sir, we're detecting an energy buildup in that ship," reported Lieutenant Zoll, his eyes glued to the readings. "It's like nothing we've ever seen before." Before Zeke could respond, a voice boomed through their communication systems, clear and taunting. "This is Admiral Hayes of the Terran Defense Force. You've chosen the wrong planet to invade." Hayes's voice had a chilling calmness to it, a stark contrast to the usual pleas or threats the Theans were accustomed to hearing. Zeke felt an unfamiliar sensation creeping through his veins. "Doubt." "Admiral Hayes," Zeke replied, attempting to regain control of the situation. "Surrender now, and we will show mercy to your people. Resist and face annihilation." Hayes's laughter echoed through the bridge. "You misunderstand, Commander. We are not here to negotiate. We've been preparing for this day. Welcome to Earth, the place where your conquest ends." With that, the Terran vessel unleashed a beam of energy that sliced through the lead Thean battleship, splitting it in two. The bridge exploded into chaos as alarms blared and emergency protocols activated. "Return fire!" Zeke shouted, but even as he gave the order, he knew it was futile. The human ship moved with a grace and precision that defied everything they knew about space warfare. The Thean fleet retaliated, their powerful plasma cannons lighting up the darkness of space, yet the Terran ship danced through the barrage, its shields absorbing the impact with ease. More human ships began to rise from the planet's surface, each one more advanced than the last. "Commander, we need to regroup," Zoll shouted, his voice barely audible over the din. Zeke clenched his mandibles. Retreat had never been an option in their conquests, but this was different. This was a fight they were not prepared for. "All ships, fall back to the rendezvous point. We need to reassess our strategy." As the Thean fleet began its hasty retreat, the humans did not pursue. Instead, they hovered in formation, a silent testament to their newfound power. Earth's unexpected defenders back on the Thean flagship, Zeke paced the command deck, his mind racing. How did we underestimate them so drastically? He muttered to himself. "Sir, it appears they've been advancing their technology in secret," Zoll replied, still analyzing the data. "Our intelligence reports were outdated. This level of technological development, it's unprecedented." Zeke's eyes narrowed. "Prepare a message to the Emperor. We need reinforcements. This isn't just a battle anymore. It's a war for survival." But even as he gave the order, a nagging doubt lingered in his mind. What if reinforcements wouldn't be enough? What if humanity had truly become the dominant force in the galaxy? A force that even the mighty Thean Empire could not overcome. On the surface of the Earth, Admiral Hayes watched the retreating Thean fleet with a satisfied smile. "They'll be back," he said to Captain Rohrer, his second in command. "And when they do, we'll be ready." Rohrer nodded. "They won't know what hit them. The new energy weapons worked better than we anticipated." "That they did," Hayes replied. "But we can't get complacent. This was just the first wave. They'll return with more ships, more firepower. We need to be ready to show them that Earth is not just a planet to be conquered. It's a fortress." As Hayes turned to leave the command center, he paused, looking at the image of the Thean fleet on the screen. "They thought they could take us by surprise. They thought we were weak. Today, they learned just how wrong they were." The room fell silent as Hayes walked out, the weight of the coming war heavy on his shoulders. The Theans had started this conflict, but it would be humanity that finished it. Earth was prepared to fight, and they would not stop until the Thean Empire learned the true saint of underestimating humanity. The turning point the day the humans answered would be remembered as the turning point in a war that would reshape the galaxy. For the first time in history, It was humanity who held the upper hand. The Thean reinforcements arrived within a week, a vast armada that filled the sensors of every human ship with a relentless stream of data. Admiral Hayes stood on the bridge of the TDF Resolute, the flagship of the Terran Defense Force, as his crew analyzed the incoming fleet. "Commander Zeke's message must have been convincing," Captain Rohr remarked, watching the screens. "That's a lot of ships." Hayes nodded, his expression serious. "They won't underestimate us again. This time, they'll throw everything they have at us." The second wave of Thean reinforcements arrived with all the pomp and terror of a galactic empire determined to restore its pride. Hundreds of warships materialized from hyperspace, forming an imposing wall that stretched across Earth's orbit. It was a sight meant to intimidate, to remind their enemies of their place. But humanity had learned long ago not to be intimidated. On the bridge of the TDF Resolute, Admiral Hayes watched the Thean fleet form up. His officers, though outwardly calm, worked with a nervous energy, fully aware of the stakes. This was no longer a simple skirmish. This was war. "Status report," Hayes ordered. "All Terran fleets are in position," replied Captain Rohr. "Orbital defenses are online, and the planetary shield is at full power. Civilian populations have been moved to deep shelters, and our fleets in the outer system are ready to flank." Hayes nodded. "Good. Let them think we're cornered." A communication request pinged across the system. It was the Theans. Hayes allowed himself a small smile. "They still think they can talk us down." The holographic display blinked to life, revealing Commander Zeke, his mandibles twitching with tension. "Admiral Hayes," he began, his tone sharp and clipped. "You've proven your cunning. I commend your defenses, but let's not draw this out unnecessarily. You cannot withstand the full might of the Thean Empire. Surrender now, and we will show leniency." Hayes's expression didn't waver. "You seem to misunderstand. Commander, we don't surrender, not to bullies, not to empires, and certainly not to invaders who come uninvited." Zeke's mandibles flared. "You're signing the death warrant for your species, Admiral." "You've got that backward," Hayes said, his voice low and cold. "The moment you stepped into our system, you signed your own." Before Zeke could respond, Hayes cut the transmission. "Send the signal," Hayes ordered, turning back to his officers. "It's time to show them what we've been hiding." Humanity's secret weapon. As the Thean fleet advanced, they encountered unexpected resistance. Outlying human stations, thought to be mere research outposts, revealed their true nature: hidden weapons platforms. Swarms of automated drones launched from concealed bays, harassing the Thean ships and forcing them to expend resources on what they assumed were secondary targets. But the true surprise came from the asteroid belt. Dozens of massive mining vessels, repurposed as warships, emerged from the debris. Their armor was dense and impervious to conventional Thean weaponry. Even as plasma fire rained down, the Terran ships pressed forward, battering the Thean flanks with railguns and experimental gravitic cannons. "Sir, the outer system fleet has engaged," reported Lieutenant Vega. "The Theans are repositioning their forces to counter." "Exactly as planned," Hayes replied. "Prepare the spear." The spear was humanity's ace in the hole. Hidden in orbit around Earth was the TDF Titan, a colossal warship built in secret over the last 3 decades. Powered by a fusion drive so advanced that it defied known galactic science, the Titan wasn't just a ship, it was a mobile fortress. As the Theans committed more of their forces to the outer system, the Titan uncloaked. Its appearance drew an audible gasp from even the most seasoned officers on the Resolute. Nearly 10 kilometers in length, bristling with weaponry, the Titan embodied the culmination of humanity's ingenuity and determination. "Fire the singularity cannon," Hayes ordered. A galaxy-wide shockwave, the Titan's primary weapon, the singularity cannon, wasn't designed to destroy ships. It was designed to end battles. A beam of concentrated energy shot out from the cannon, targeting the heart of the Thean fleet. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then space itself seemed to ripple as the weapon created a localized gravitational anomaly. Dozens of Thean ships were pulled into the event horizon before it dissipated, leaving a stunned silence in its wake. The rest of the Thean fleet scrambled to reposition, their formation in disarray. Zeke watched the chaos unfold from his flagship, his claws gripping the command console. How do they have this kind of power?" he hissed. They're not what we thought," Zal stammered. "This isn't a backwater species. This is a rival empire in the making." The Theans' retreat. The battle raged for hours, but it was clear by the end that the Theans had lost. Their forces were scattered, their flagship damaged, and their morale shattered. "Commander," Zal urged, "we must retreat. If we stay, we'll lose everything." Zeke's pride warred with his pragmatism. The Thean Empire had never suffered a defeat of this magnitude. But there was no denying the reality. "Order the retreat," he growled, his voice heavy with shame. As the battered remnants of the Thean fleet limped away, cheers erupted across the Terran defense fleet. But on the Resolute, Hayes remained stoic. "Do not celebrate too early," he warned. This was a victory, but it wasn't the end. The Thean Empire will regroup. They'll send more ships, more soldiers. We've only bought ourselves time. Roar nodded. "And what will we do with that time?" "We'll do what humanity does best," Hayes replied. "Adapt, innovate, and make sure that when they come back, we don't just survive, we thrive." A new chapter of the Battle of Earth would go down in history as the day humanity cemented its place among the galactic powers. The Thean Empire, once unchallenged, now faced an enemy it couldn't ignore. And humanity? Humanity had proven that it was no longer a prey species. It was a predator, ready to hunt down anyone who dared threaten its home. The war wasn't over, but for the first time in galactic history, it was clear that Earth wasn't just another planet. It was a force to be reckoned with,